My name's Emily Sullivan Smith. I'm a visual artist and I live in Dayton, Ohio. My philosophy as an artist has developed over the years. My interests really lie in the ever-changing, really, balance between the natural world and human existence. A lot of the inspiration for my work comes from the news and watching documentaries, reading National Geographic, all of the reporting that's happening of that ever-changing balance. And certainly over the last 10 years, there's been more and more special consideration given to the human role of making the planet sustainable for our existence. So I basically am doing research all the time. The research goes from, like I said, watching those documentaries, reading books, culling information from experts on climate and the environment to, the way that I live on my own really tiny piece of suburban land, and the ways that I aim to make my own lifestyle as sustainable as possible. So at any given time, I'm just thinking about all of those interconnected relationships and searching for the things that I find particular interest in. I use the process of drawing as a tool for mediation. So I might trace over or draw over an image 1, 2, 3 times so that the hand quality, my hand be translating that image, is so evident that it's considerably changed from the original image. So I'll work on that drawing until I'm happy with it. I heard a printmaker say at one point, it stuck with me, that you can't take a bad drawing and turn it into a good print. So I always do try to make sure that I'm really happy with that drawing before I move forward. And then I use an old school overhead projector, and I take the drawing that's been made on acetate and project it onto the wood block itself. So in that way, I'm able to play around with scale and placement, especially if I have more than one image that I'm going to have married together. I will play around with that on the block. So the carving can take anywhere from a week to a month, depending on the scale of the block and how much time I have to devote to that carving. But if I were working full time, it's between a week and a month. And at that point, when the block is carved, I go to the press and start proofing and printing, making changes to the block if necessary. And that's the process of prints. Most of the inspiration from my work it's coming from, I think the most honest answer that I can give to that is that it's coming from my imagination. My thinking brain, my imagination are really very active, almost to a fault, I think. It's like, you have trouble sleeping sometimes because your brain's just going so quickly, but it's a lot of the time I'm making what I want to see. So in prints or in sculptures, whatever it is that I'm making, I'll work on imagining what that image looks like. And I'm never really considering the time that it takes or the work that's required. It's just the image that I really want to see. I love looking at other artists' artwork. My sort of practice in looking at other artists' artwork is never to focus on one person's work for a long time, because they're already good at being themselves. So what I do is look at a lot of imagery. I sort of imagine it like opening my brain and then shoving everything in and then closing the brain cap back down, because I want it to just meld together to become a new thing, so that I can be influenced and inspired by, but not, referential of anybody else's work.